Tippy time my damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. Now pre-Edge of Fate, Bungie chucked out a TWAB stating that the winner's bite would be receiving a nerf, taking its weighted edge benefits from a 50% damage bonus whilst you have ammo in the mag to a 20% damage bonus. Now I know a lot of you were like, oh no, the melee damage is going to be rubbish. I though instead knew it was still going to be busted. They just wanted to dial it back a little bit, as Glaive melee damage is now considered uncharged melee damage. So it's going to scale a little bit different in this new meta. For this kit you're going to need 3 brawler sets of armor, and that's in order to get our melee up to 170 stats. This will give us another 22% melee damage increase to our glaives and our melees. Our base melee winter bite does 255, but then with that small bump to melee and the perk, it's going to go to 444. I first wanted to use this kit to do the Grandmaster Conquest, as there's a lot of peeps out there busy solo grinding, so I knew I was going to have to do this run solo, so I needed a kit that was going to take on everything. If you weren't aware, Glaive melee damage is also kinetic damage, which means it's going to pair perfectly with that tech sec armor. I'm running a 4-piece set. The 2-piece bonus is Wrecker, where we deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatants' shields, overshields, vehicles and constructs. This is a ×3 damage bonus, meaning we absolutely melt through shields. And trust me, when you're at Grandmaster level, you're forced to run a match game a lot. This just absolutely negates these. Most shields is going to be down and with 1 tap. And with the 4-piece combo we get that perk power equals rounds. When we defeat a powerful combatant, or simply by breaking their shield with kinetic damage, it's going to release a kinetic shockwave. This will disorientate surrounding foes, allowing me to stick jab the enemy in front of me whilst they sit and wait their turn. Now this only lasts for 3 seconds, but trust, it's more than enough. Now my exotic was no doubt going to be the Wormgods. Its perk is Burning Fists. When defeating targets with melees or finishers, it's going to grant us an escalating melee damage bonus, which slowly decays over time. And the higher levels of Burning Fists are also going to grant us an additional weapon damage bonus. Every time you kill, it's going to go up a tier. Each of these tiers has a different timer. The first one here is 10 seconds, second one 10 seconds. It then drops to 4 seconds, 4 seconds, and 3 seconds. This allows us to bounce comfortably from pocket of enemies to pocket of enemies, allowing us to get that max damage stack never far away. At just that first bar, we've already got a 55% melee damage increase. The second goes to 110, then 165, 220, and it's going to max out at a 275% increase. And if for some reason you need to put the stick down, as it's like a sniper shooting you from miles away, our weapon damage at that first tier is going to remain at 0%, but then jumps immediately to 20%, 25, 30, and maxing out at 35%. No doi, we're pairing this with Banner of War, whereby defeating a target with a melee attack or finisher or sword, it's going to raise the Banner of War. This periodically heals us and nearby allies, whilst increasing our melee and sword damage. The start of that melee damage is 40%, but if we spin it all the way up to Banner times 4, we're hitting 100% harder. So remember, our base glaive damage was 255. We now have a 1045% melee damage increase with all of this combined, hitting for 2660 per light attack. Remember, it's still advantageous to do that full glaive melee combo where we do 2 lights and that heavy for that double damage. Now we do have that shield crush perk and the artifact, so whilst we have woven mail, our melee is going to recharge faster and deal more damage. We're going to get woven mail a couple of ways, our first being the Into the Fray Strand aspect, whereby destroying a tangle or casting our super is going to grant us woven mail, and whilst we have woven mail, our melee regeneration rate is increased. Our frenzied blade at base hits for 634, but now with this all spun up, we're going to be hitting for 3,357. And that grapple melee initially hits for 474, it's now hitting for 3,044. So no matter if we're slashing, poking, or Tarzan swinging, it's all going to hurt a whole lot more. Now we're also going to be using 2 pieces of the Paragon armor. This is stated towards super, then melee, allowing us to get that 170 that we want. And we'll be sitting at 100 intellect, so we can pop those supers all day long. The Blade Fury is a great super regardless if you're clearing out ads, taking on champions, or dealing with bosses. Its base damage is 12,927, but with the Wormgods all spun up as we're doing melee damage, this is now boosted to 20,878. So it's still a solid option over something like the Synthos. Now up until now, all my damage numbers have been based on that 170 melee, but I am using a melee font to get me up to 200, but as it's not full time, I didn't want to include it during my damage tests. I'm running ×2 heavy-handed mods to make us an orb of power every 5 seconds. I've got one elemental charge mod on my kicks to give us a chance of an armor charge whenever we pick up a tangle, and a time dilation mod on my sweat rag in order to push up that charge to 15 seconds. So whenever we pick up an orb of power, Thread of Warding is going to give us Woven Mail for 5 seconds. So now we got that mail from the super, the tangles, and the orbs. So with Threaded Transmutation, whilst we have Woven Mail, our weapon final blows are going to grant us a tangle, and this fragment gives us +10 melee. I've got Threaded Binding equipped, so our super final blows emit a suspension burst from the target. This helps a lot, particularly when solo, when it comes to clearing out adds, and with Threaded Continuity, our suspension is going to go from 6 to 8 seconds. Unravel from our grapple melee is increased, and Sever from our Frenzied Blades is also increased. This will also push that suspension timer from that Tangled Web perk inside the artifact, whereby creating a tangle when defeating a strand debuff target suspends nearby combatants. One perk that has been absolute clutch up when running these solo Grandmaster content is the Elemental Daze perk, whereby stunning a champion with an elemental weapon creates an elementally aligned explosion. This is a huge chunk. I'm running a return memory to deal with unstops, as freeze now overloads, and if you can get one with impromptu ammunition, it's definitely going to help. Being a Glaive heavy build, we're really not requiring primary ammo here. Our Trident is our primary, so I feel more than comfortable running double special here. I've banged on that mint retrograde, so now I can deal with all 3 champions with ease and regardless of the range. As although I'm jabbing everything, we can't forget I can still shoot those big pretty princess snow globes to deal with those overloads from afar to stop them from blinking in and out of existence. Now feel free to pause here for all my mods, fragments and artifacts, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. This kit was absolutely juggernaut, guys. You thought Glaives were good last season? I'd argue they're even better now. With all the melee changes, all those nerfs definitely feel like buffs now if you fully build into them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy time my damies, what a tie.